Wait, let's do this real quick before we do the Hutch thing. Olivia, the one who did all the crazy sleeping with all the politicians.
Terrified of the man I did not marry, and I was very worried about people knowing where I was. And
I'm sorry.
pause this? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we can pause it.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Rip.
Hey guys, at this point in the conversation, we need to take a beat, but then we started her back up. Stick around for the rest of the conversation with Olivia Nuzzi on her book, American Canto.
I mean, a lot of my whole, the last year was just, my whole life was destabilized, right?
Oh wait, it's not mean to her. This is just her telling her story. Why was I link this?
I was not in motion for the first time, really since I was like 18, right? Because I've been
Explain this. It's just this lady
life.
just basically, I guess, slept with I think she was a journalist, and she slept with like a ton of politicians, including RFK Jr. and others. And then she released some tell-all book about it. But her husband also released he started posting on Substack about ways that she cheated on him and people that she'd fucked. I don't know if it's anything more than just like that kind of Mimi stuff. She's just like a Giga Stacy nympho.
And I'd been, one of the things about being a political reporter that's so great is that you don't have to justify, the stakes are always apparent, right? Like you never have to think like, is what I'm doing important? Like, do I have purpose, right? It's inherent to the task. And that's an enormous burden lifted, I think.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden I'm dealing also just with like a lot of things and people I thought that I knew.
True.
Who were, it turned out, not who I thought that they were.
Wow.
And I could not predict behavior successfully. And I was just scared. Yeah.
Right. Does anything happen in this, or is this just?
And I'm sorry. Because of the stakes is why. No. It's because of the stakes. What you're talking about that I'm like, I'm sticking with this. That's why
you can ask whatever. Yeah.
And so I just like, you said you left. You're in hiding.
Did you see this? Oh yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Okay.
Just
the murder of the Venezuelan people after the boats,
thing, so.
killing people after the boats already been destroyed. Not only that's a war crime and it's illegal in the United States. You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Nuh-uh. Did Destiny break this guy? I feel like that's like the worst offense that you could commit as a lawyer. If all you can come up with is like, yeah, you can.
I'm unlikely to stay for 2 hours to get yelled at by Destiny. That's not a good use of my time. So if we could maybe have questions and answers and people have an opportunity to exchange views and positions.
You know he mad.
No. He got mocked by a YouTuber and then just ran.
Okay, has Donald Trump ever turned down the rhetoric, or has he only ever inflated it and made it worse?
The question's irrelevant because Donald Trump has no obligation to turn down the
Okay, cool. So you're not going to answer my question. So you can stop talking now. You can bow out now.
No, we can. No, we can't. I'll muted him. I've muted.
No! Soy pill with the kill shot. Oh no! It was just foreplay with Destiny for like 20 minutes. How are Destiny and Soy Pill debating two lawyers? What is this about? What was the point of the debate?
Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of WIC TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And today, we're going to be discussing the recent shooting and killing of at least one National Guard member in Washington, D.C. Destiny, open us up.
I don't know if I would say 100% that Trump is fully responsible, but if anybody is responsible, he's pushed it basically as close to the line as possible. I think that Trump has engaged in behavior that has made...
I gotta tell you guys before we even do this.
Oh God, I'm sorry. No, this is a YouTube video, not a stream.
I didn't know Mr. Editor Man was going to upload that video. But I unpacked some like a Destiny panel where he was, some of you guys were here for that. Where it was like a 1v3, and he uploaded the VOD, and the reactions were so extreme, bro. Internet fandoms kind of drive me insane sometimes. Like, it just gets intense. Like, anytime you upload a video on the channel where you're even kind of lightly critical of people with like substantial audiences, Destiny, Hassan, especially Shoe on Head, Asmongold, Kyle Kalinske is another example of this. The reactions are so extreme. People make it so personal, which is something that I was not doing. I was criticizing Destiny's arguments. My biggest issue with Destiny these days is I think he has succumbed to the black pill, and that's rubbing off on his audience. And I think it is coloring their perspective in a way that does not map with reality.
One thing that you guys have an issue with, I don't know how to fix this with you guys. I just don't know. I don't know if you guys are fixable. Is you guys are just you're incapable of levying a criticism at somebody without just being just completely unhinged. So for instance, like, I think that Wick sometimes carries a little bit too much water for the conservative people on panels that I'm on. It drives me fucking crazy. But like, Wick is the only guy that can even get these people to be willing to show up to these panels. And that's really good. And, you know, it's probably the case that Wick needs to be more adversarial towards me than the conservatives, because, I mean, you can see, like, the conservatives are already, like, barely hanging on by a fucking thread to actually even go on any of these fucking panels because they're such babies. So, like, if you're in Wick's position and you're trying your best to hold on to, like, the conservative people that are barely willing to come on anyway, and then Destiny's audience is just, like, fucking roasting the fuck out of you for, you know, not being as brutal towards conservatives as I would be, or I am in the debate, like, yeah, it's just a brutal, like, getting fucked from both ends. I wish I had a better way to control you guys, because you guys need to fucking, I wish you guys just calm the fuck down on that. Jesus.
Still in the mindset, and it's not just them. I think a lot of other people are doing this on the internet, where they're kind of locked into the, like, we'll say December 2024 mentality, where Trump's win was still very fresh. His public approval rating, I think, was even a slight majority at the time. There were serious questions, concerns about
I'll say something nice about Prime Kai.
Ascendance.
No, I'm good on that.
It seemed as though his power level was rising.
Let's not get too crazy.
Plunging down this incredibly dark path in the United States, and I won't lie, like, I felt a fair bit of the black pill around that time too. I was like a little bit black pilled on some stuff, especially in the first few months of the year. Those early months of the Trump administration were just very, like, uniquely awful. But it's been the case that in the last several months, we've seen Donald Trump's power level just dwindle and dwindle and dwindle. And Republican Party politics right now is a fucking mess. Is a fucking mess. And yet, I still hear people talk about Trump as though he's this unstoppable force of nature that is getting everything that he wants and has just an iron grip over the Republican Party. And that is just not something that maps to reality at all. They are on the decline. We know that. And so the question about, like, what are we going to do to stave off fascism? I don't know about you guys, but I feel a lot better, especially after the elections from a few weeks ago. How do we win? How do we beat this? Well, we just keep having election nights like the one we had a few weeks ago. And that seems to be, we have a Tennessee District 7 Trump plus 22 state that is currently kind of a fucking toss-up. They are barreling towards electoral catastrophe in 2026. Like, if the current trends hold, they're going to get decimated by bigger margins than 2018. So a lot of the black pill stuff for me, there's still obviously valid concerns and fears. Trump is unquestionably totally corrupt and is had a tremendously negative influence on not just American politics, but cultural discourse. Like, he's just infected everything, and it is very, very bad to have him as a president. And it sucks that we're locked in for another few years with this guy, but they are not poised to do like a full-on takeover.
Okay.
So a lot of my fears just went away. All we need to do is vote, guys. There won't be any
You misspoke. You
heir
heard
to
it.
Trumpism.
You heard
Don't
it, right?
worry. Well, I certainly didn't say that.
It's over.
Someone is going to take up the mantle to lead the Republican Party, but I don't think that question is an easy question for Republicans right now. I don't think they have a lot of great answers. I don't think there's, who do you guys think are the most likely candidates to take over Trump? I mean, it's obviously Vance, and I think Vance is sharper than a lot of people think, but I don't believe that guy has the riz right now to like, no one is going to be able to really step into that guy's shoes and take over. They have a very difficult question ahead of them in terms of who do they think should be the heir apparent to Trump. Like Don Jr., I don't know about you guys. I'm not worried about Don Jr. Vivek, don't make me laugh. Marjorie Taylor Greene, there's no fucking way the Republican voters are going to accept her as the leader of the party. They are in a horrible position right now. And I feel like a lot of people's brains haven't caught up to that new updated information. That's my perspective. They're still in the black pill kind of mindset. And I think, unfortunately, it's just going to take us getting to the midterms. I think like once the midterms happen, people will start to feel a lot better, or at least I hope so. We told ourselves the same thing after Bush. Who's going to come after Bush? Dick Cheney. To be clear, I want to clarify what I'm saying. I'm not saying the Republican Party is dead in the water and we don't have any problems ahead of us. Let me just clarify. That's not what I mean. But as far as the question of like, oh my God, is Trump going to successfully do like a fascist takeover of the United States? I really think the odds of that happening have gone way the fuck down. Okay. Are you still going to go over the Jenkinson convo today or not? We'll play it by ear. I mean, you guys told me to watch the first part of this debate, and so I want to do that. But like, guys, if I am critical of someone's arguments, you like don't need to take it fucking personally. I'm not attacking people personally.
I feel attacked.
If I disagree with a particular mindset or opinion or analysis, just be fucking normal is all I'm saying about it. Like, you don't need to do the fandom stuff. I don't know if anybody in my chat now is doing that, but
Magic Boost helps guns, right?
Jesus Christ, bro. People take it so personally. If you disagree with their favorite creators' like opinion on stuff, it's absurd.
You said on 9/15 on November 26th, you wrote as follows. They weren't protecting DC. They couldn't even make arrests. They were sent there to die by real Donald Trump and his cronies so they could rile up the base to distract them from the monumental failing of every single part of this administration. Is that your current position, sir?
Can they jump high enough?
Yes, I think that Trump is trying intentionally to inflame tensions as much as possible so that he can expand his executive power as much as possible. One thing that you're going to hear over and over again in this debate, it's already happened in the opening statements, is remember, every single time a conservative criticizes a Democrat, it's about what they should do, what their moral obligation is, and what a good leader would do to guide the country. But whenever they talk about Trump or the conservatives, it's always what is the outer perimeter of legal actions that he is theoretically allowed to take. There's no question of whether or not his leadership is moral or what his end game is on anything, although he would fail in the legal realm as he has been over and over again, and he would fail on these other two as well. But like, the question is why? So for instance, earlier you talked about leftists celebrating violence. Why is...
Wait, Dustin, you would agree with that? No, that the chance of a full-on fascist takeover another Trump is significantly lower than it was before. I'm just saying that phrasing is just crazy. That's all I'm saying, okay? Like saying that like there was a 90% chance that my friend was going to rape my cat when he came over, but that chance has gone way down. It's like 10% chance that he like rapes my cat. That's just like a crazy framing that we've accepted. I'm not blaming Hutch on this. I'm just saying it's just insane that that's what we think of things like.
Donald Trump incapable of saying that the entire country needs to be less violent? Why is he incapable of saying anything that equally criticizes his side?
And this is open discussion, so.
Right, and this is what the left. This is.
Wait, which one rage quits? Don't tell me. No spoilers.
Why would you ask?
I know I've seen this guy debate. I really doubt he would rage quit. I'm gonna say this guy here. I'm gonna predict it's him. Don't tell me. Don't spoil it.
This is what you on the left tend to do. It's you're continually ratcheting up the violence, and then you're looking for an all sides type of thing. And to harken back, and I don't want to get into the whole Black Lives Matter thing, but when we look back at 2020, when we saw the whole Black Lives Matter issue rise.
I don't want to get back into the Black Lives Matter, but if we go back to 2020 with Black Lives Matter,
it was considered an affront for people and offensive for people to say all lives matter. Now, I think that if you actually step back from a practical perspective, you would agree that all lives matter. But given the context, the idea of saying all lives matter in that context was deemed offensive because there was some perceived unique, terrible position for the Black community. And it was as if you were disparaging.
It's so crazy that he just makes the perfect analogy. No. He's making the perfect analogy for how stupid the Unlawful Orders video is, right? Like, all lives matter was a bit of a bait. And it was, right? All lives matter was a bit of a bait. Like, okay, fine, all lives matter. Okay, whatever. Black lives matter too, right? All lives matter, fine. But they're doing the same thing with the video. Don't follow unlawful orders. They should just say, okay, fine, we won't follow unlawful orders, duh. And that's it. But the fact that they're so triggered about that is like,
their genuine plight by just trying to make it a general concern. So when you come here, Destiny, and you say, why can't he just say that all sides need to dial it back when there's been just bludgeoning from one side against the other? It just sort of rings as if you're trying to just whitewash. They're like, oh yeah, both sides.
You'll never get the partisan like MAGA types to engage in reality when it comes to violence committed by and motivated by like right-wing extremism and right-wing extremism. They just don't engage honestly. You have that crazy QAnon guy that took a hammer to Paul Pelosi's head, but they go to conspiracy theories. They just lie and obfuscate and just say that the guy was, you know, like a left-wing nudist environmentalist. They totally ignore, like in that case in particular, it's especially egregious because that guy himself.
How are you able to not just lose it at how smug and wrong these Republicans were? I mean, I think I did lose it, right? I just went overboard. But like they came in and they flaunted if you're going to flaunt your educational background and everything, then I feel like I'm fine to do it. But yeah.
Told law enforcement and told a court exactly what motivated him. And it was a belief that the 2020 election was stolen. And he wanted to torture Nancy Pelosi because of her perceived, and his perception, her perceived involvement in the 2020 election rigging.
True.
Like he just came out and said that's what he was motivated by.
Kind of wacky, kind of wild.
These people with their information silos that they exist in completely avoid all this very public information.
They sure do.
The Minnesota shooter who murdered that Democratic lawmaker, that woman, their conspiracy theory about that was because she had voted against some Minnesota bill to provide healthcare to illegal immigrants. And so the shooter was motivated. He was like a secret lefty, even though he was very publicly like a...
They only said that in the first few hours, though. Once that came out that probably wasn't the case and he was a right-winger, they dropped it completely.
Staunch Christian. You know, his roommate was interviewed the day of the shooting or the day after the shooting, and the roommate was like completely dismissing the idea that this guy was a left-wing lunatic. Guy was very explicit, had a list of Democrats that he wanted to murder. They were all Democrats on the list. You know, the kid that took the shot at
Did we confirm that
Trump,
they were all Democrats? I know they were all lawmakers.
Was very obviously, you know, not exactly on paper a super left-wing guy. You know, he like was a gun enthusiast, and his high school contemporaries
banged your
described
mom.
him as super right-wing. But these people just like, they don't engage honestly with these facts. And so in their minds, it's literally just left-wing people committing violence. The other thing too is like the Black Lives Matter stuff, the violence and the rioting that happened. Are we going to describe that as political violence? Or do we really think that the majority of the people that were committing acts of like looting and rioting at that time were politically motivated? I mean, I'm not saying none of them were politically motivated, but is it an act of political violence to break into a Target?
I've never actually thought about that before. That's actually a really fair criticism. I feel like it's such a hard thing to defend because people are just gonna be, bro. These they really scaled the fucking monsters for this fight. It's just gonna one shot all my people. The majority of I'm sure some of the BLM violence was politically motivated, but the majority of it, like people were just rioting and just fucking shit up because they were opportunistic. Would you really describe that as political violence? Probably not. Probably not fairly. Not really, right?
and steal a bunch of fucking sneakers? How is that political violence?
Sides are bad when that's just not reality. It's not reality that we're actually experiencing.
Two really quick and easy questions. Did Joe Biden condemn the BLM violence?
I wasn't looking to get into
the answer. No answer. Notice how they can't answer? The reason why, by the way, remember, okay? The reason why they don't answer is because they know. Miss, really? Just kill my whole crew, okay? It's because they know they fucked up. That's why. That's always why they avoid answering. So they know they're on some fuck shit every single time. Every single time. Oh, no, that's fine.
How do you know that? How do you not know that off the top of your head, by the way?
Yes, I don't know. That's fine. He does know it. No, wait. Well, I know you don't care because you don't care to make any factual. So
how is it not relevant? Okay, I'm getting triggered watching this.
Number one. And number two,
hold on, one second. We can't, no one can hear each other. Hold on, just real quick.
How is that relevant? The difference between the rhetoric around political violence coming from Democratic Party leadership versus Republican Party leadership is night and day. They do not ever, like, what do you think this entire conversation about Fuentes is about? Like, they never do any kind of like internal critique ever. And all of Democratic leadership, every single person that was considered in a leadership position of the Democratic Party when the 2020 riots happened, all of them condemned the rioting. Unequivocally condemned the rioting. Every single person.
Hey, just housekeeping.
You brought up BLM.
Yeah, you brought up BLM.
No, I did bring up BLM, but I brought it up to make a point that in certain
your point is wrong. That's the point I'm making. That your point is stupid.
No, the point that I'm making is in certain situations, when you try and just deflect to saying, let's just make this a general message, it's ignoring the actual problem. You're trying to purposefully ignore the actual problem. In 2020, you wanted to. The left was saying that the other side is ignoring the problem by trying to say all lives matter. And what I'm saying is you're ignoring the problem by trying to say. It was a super
easy question. Did Biden condemn the BLM riots? Did Biden condemn the violence?
I have no idea. He wasn't in power during the BLM riots, so I don't know why.
He was the candidate
for the Democratic
Party. He was the candidate. He was a presidential candidate. He was the de facto leader of the Democratic Party. That's what happens if you run a primary and you become the nominee to be the president of the United States. You are the de facto leader of the party. You exert a tremendous amount of influence on the party platform, on fundraising stuff, and how those funds are spent. There's obviously a massive difference if one political party is led by a person who just will not ever condemn political violence from their side, and in fact, pardon thousands of people.
True.
Who committed acts of violence on January 6th. It is night and day with Joe Biden.
See why you
did unequivocally.
You should mix me up with Biden. We're both.
At the time.
He was running for election because he was running for election.
The face of the Democratic Party.
You literally can't even answer. You don't even know. Why even bring up BLM? If you don't know anything was going on at the time, then just don't bring it up. That was
for Donnie with $2. Arguments with Republicans has become so boring.
True.
I agree.
True.
I agree.
True.
It is.
It's dumb.
I just kind of check out.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the reasons why I've focused more on like arguing with people on the left, is because at least those arguments tend to be a bit more substantive. Like sometimes those arguments get pretty dumb as well, but it's nothing like arguing with Republicans, because
what?
I just don't know. I don't have the patience anymore.
What?
To engage with someone who they are operating with a totally different,
not work how I think it does,
understanding of reality. It's like arguing with someone who's like a fundamentalist Christian, like someone who has a literal interpretation of scripture. True. If you've ever had arguments with those kinds of people, you know how those go. You don't even get close to a middle ground. You have to fight them on just basic reality. You can't even get into the substance of what those arguments should be about, because you're too busy arguing about whether or not like basic fundamental truths are real or not. And so I think there was a time, especially during Trump 1.0, where I could argue with someone like that for like 3 or 4 hours. And I would be really kind of engaged in the but after doing that for so many years, I just don't have the stomach for this kind of stuff anymore, because this guy has like, how do you not know that Joe Biden didn't, like, how do you not know that he condemned the violence? Like, you're supposed to be plugged in enough. You are ostensibly plugged into politics enough to appear on a debate panel to debate a particular topic. In this case, I suppose it's about political violence broadly, but you don't know if Joe Biden condemned violence? Like, how is that possible that you don't know that? That's kind of insane to me. Then you don't belong on the panel. What are you doing on the panel?
Kind of weird, true.
If you don't have that basic information. Or that could be true as well. Guitar Man says he does know. Or he's just lying and he doesn't want to avoid the very obvious point that Destiny is making here. Is that there's a complete asymmetry. And this is where, even though tactically I disagree with Steven quite a bit these days, the fundamental like foundation that he rests his arguments on is sound. There's a complete asymmetry in how the Democratic Party leadership and just the party broadly discuss political violence versus how the Republican Party discusses political violence. There's total asymmetry there. There's no accountability whatsoever within the Republican Party. Steven's not wrong about that. He's never been wrong about that.
I'm never wrong about
true.
anything.
That is just an accurate observation. Some white guy with $10. I think any doomerism you are sensing from Destiny is from him not believing the next admin will properly punish this one. Besides that, he seems very don't celebrate till it's overpilled. I tend to disagree with that. Like, I'm not sure
2%.
if somebody asked him the question, like, if somebody asked him to describe the ways that the Republican Party have suffered because of Trump 2.0, I don't know what kind of answer he would give to that question, because they have suffered.
Whatever the answer is, it's not enough.
Serious consequences, not just in Trump 2.0, but in Trump 1.0 as well. He's hurt the party in so many ways. And yet there's a prevailing notion, not just with like DGGers, but honestly, you see this a lot on like the populist left, like the left, like, there's a bit of overlap there where they're convinced that Donald Trump has like unequivocally like strengthened the Republican Party, is what I hear more often than not these days. And I feel like Destiny's rhetoric has shifted. That's been kind of a recent kind of development.
The first question. So the answer is yes. You can go research it later. The second question is, did Donald Trump pardon every single J6 protest?
Gang, both of you, please. We can't hear when you guys are talking over each other, so I'd ask that, again, you wait for the other person to finish their statement, then you can respond, and I'll try to make sure that you aren't interrupted during your response, and that's what we're going to do. Finish it. Just real quick, Soypill. Let Logic finish his statement, and then you can jump in, and Andrew seems to want in as well. So that's the order we're going to go.
I'm fine. I mean, what I'm saying is, but I'll let you guys go. It's okay.
This guy's fucking laughing.
I'll tag you in soon, brother.
I'd rather yap and not answer either of those questions, by the way.
No, my point is that you're trying to deflect into something that's relatively meaningless as to whether or not he actually condemned it. Who cares? How is that relevant to the point I was making? The only point I was...
How does he have a license to practice law and he doesn't understand the relevance?
Can I revive him?
Explain that to me. That's more blackpilling than Trump in this moment for me right now.
You said that leftists were trying to ratchet up the violence.
Yeah,
what do you mean, how is it relevant? It speaks directly to the issue. Hold on, just one more. I'm going to do this one more time, and then if he doesn't answer, that's fine. So the first question is, did Biden condemn the BLM riots? The answer is yes.
I have no idea.
Did Donald Trump? That's fine. That's fine. Don't yap again. I just answer my second question.
What day did he do it?
What day? But I'd actually Googled it to look for the statement in case he asked for it, so I had it up on my screen.
Day did he do it?
Also, yeah. Oh, I like how Hutch is identifying this, right? Like, what is this question? Give me the day. What are all the words that Biden said in 2020? Like, what the fuck is this request for information? What day?
What does that have to do with the point? Is he just doing lawyer brain shit right now? Where
No,
what's
it's
the
not
word
even lawyer brain. It's just
there's
fucking
a particular kind of
bullshit.
fallacy where it's like you focus on the most minute, inconsequential details, and then you try to just pick apart an argument by doing it like that way. There's some kind of word for it. It's a debate bro kind of thing.
It's called debating
but there's
destiny.
a specific word or
That's
term
all you
for
can
that.
do.
You asked me a question. I answered it.
What?
I mean, you're answering a question for me, and you asked me a question, which I assume is a sincere question, and then and then you try to say yes, he did. So I say, when did he?
It was in August. I'm pretty sure it was in August of 20. I'm gonna guess it was August 18th of 2020. Let me see if I'm right about that.
When did that happen?
He did it on August 31st, 2020. Look up YouTube Global News. It's
Damn, he knew that did he know that off the top of his head?
The video titled Joe Biden condemns violence and ongoing U.S. protests. There you go. Look it up in your own time. Number one. The second question is, did Donald...
That's actually, did he look that up right there? Or did he just spit that off the dome? Because that's pretty impressive. Just spit
the reality is, I actually could have spit it off the dome. You know why? Because he had no idea. I could have just made some shit up and he wouldn't fucking... He's not going to call me on it because this guy has no fucking idea what he's talking about. So I could have just made it up and it would have been fine. But no, I looked that up.
Off the dome.
Trump pardon...
Occasional doomer with $5. There are no consequences for those in Trump's orbit, not just Trump, beyond elections lost. Someone will try this again and they'll do it smarter. There's a certain kind of logic that I think you have to employ if you want to keep your head on straight, which is to a certain extent, you have to cross some bridges when we get there. If we are constantly consumed with the worst case scenario thing that could happen in the future, then I don't think that necessarily leads to sound analysis right now of events that are unfolding in this moment. Do you understand what I mean? If you wait till you get there, there will be a chance that it is too late. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like, the founding fathers in their infinite wisdom empowered presidents and all future
Supreme Court, side of
presidents
Texas. Got it.
with the pardon power. I think it's a crazy... I don't know why pardons are still a thing.
They
It's
shouldn't
pretty
be.
insane.
They need to go.
But it exists.
They need
and
to go. They need to
what
go.
is going to happen at the end of Trump's term is he is going to pardon himself and all of his cabinet members. And there will be, at the federal level, probably no accountability for any illegality during this term. That just feels like something that is inevitable. There's no one that can stop Trump from doing this. And so I guess on a certain level, I'm just a little bit zen with that. Like, I don't like it, obviously, but I kind of accept that it's this thing that's going to happen. And so I'm just not going to spend a lot of time seething in rage.
I am.
That's the most likely outcome. I can't do anything to change that. And I don't know what good it's going to do me to like stew about that. And so I'll take a Republican bloodbath electorally during the midterms in 2028. That will satisfy me. Don't pardons only affect federals? Well, I mean, yeah, states can bring charges if they feel like crimes are being, but I don't know how much of the executive branch is shielded from that kind of accountability for like state level crimes. I have no idea what that would look like. But if we were to have a serious conversation about reforming the pardon power or getting rid of it, that would require a constitutional amendment. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So I just don't think about it, and I don't let it bother me in the same way, I guess.
Every single J6 protester / rioter.
100%.
Global News is a video titled Joe Biden condemns violence and ongoing U.S. protests. There you go. Look it up in your own time. Number one. The second question is, did Donald Trump pardon every single J6 protester / rioter?
100%.
Okay.
Right. So the reason this isn't irrelevant, irrelevant, God logic, is because we're talking about how Trump has made the conditions for this violence to happen. Yeah, he didn't pick up the gun and shoot these National Guard members, but he's drumming up the rhetoric. And when you say, hey, the left never says be peaceful, Destiny brings up an example of Joe Biden explicitly doing that. And then we point out that Trump is refusing to condemn the right and is actually calling for the deaths of people in his...
He has to be guided along this really obvious line of logic like a baby.
True.
Like he has to be guided
and it's cringe.
like a baby by somebody half of his age. How embarrassing.
Own government that this...
You can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it!
Oh, but he can. He very much can get away with a lot of this shit. He can get away with making billions of dollars through crypto scams as president, and there's really nothing we can do about it.
This is part of the rhetoric that is causing these National Guard...
Because we let them? No. No amount of willpower will change that outcome. You can't change unless you're either talking about changing the Constitution. Do you think that's going to happen? Probably not. Or do you mean doing an insurrection and just, like forcing accountability anyway?
Sounds pretty black-pilled.
Don't see that happening. So it's not about us letting Trump get away with stuff. It's just, this is the way the Constitution is written. And this is what power it gives them. And there's nothing that we can do to change that. We literally pressured them to release the Epstein files. You don't need to... Do you understand the difference between these things, though? We don't need to change the Constitution to compel the Congress to release the Epstein files. You can just do that. They have the power to do that. And so creating leverage and pressure campaigns to try to get them to do that worked, but there was an actual legal constitutional mechanism for that to happen. There is no mechanism to force the kind of accountability that a lot of you guys want for Trump. What is protesting going to do to change this? Unless we're talking about like just tossing out the Constitution and doing some kind of a revolution. Thomas, I agree with you. The accountability was the 2024 election. Yes. The time to hold the time to decide if Donald Trump was to experience accountability for what he did was last November. That was when this was decided. It locked in Trump to be shielded from legal accountability. The American voters decided that Donald Trump would not be accountable in that kind of way. And their decision is binding.
American voters.
It is constitutionally binding, and there's nothing that we can do about it. I understand that it's depressing. I went through my own phase of being depressed about that. I moved into the acceptance phase at some point, and now, you know, it just doesn't rip me up on the inside. Mythos says, you don't want to have that conversation. You want to hand wave it away. You conceded state crimes as a path the other day. But I don't know. That's an open question. I don't know, like, can the state of California, like, prosecute? Like, I have no idea what that looks like. I'm pretty sure the president is shielded from a lot of that kind of thing. Well, I mean, like, we had the trials in Georgia, right? I mean, so yeah, I guess it's possible, yeah. And if that's possible, what do you think I'm telling you guys? We shouldn't prosecute Trump at the state level? Or like, of course, like if Donald Trump commits crimes again, and there is a legal avenue in Georgia or any other state to hold him accountable, of course I'm on board with that.
All lives matter. Oh, I'm deflecting to BLM. It's got to be a generalized statement. No, we're saying he needs to say turn down the rhetoric, and he's doing the opposite. He's inflaming everyone. He's getting people killed. That's where the blame comes from.
Well, first and foremost, I appreciate the promotion from good logic to God logic, but it's just good logic. And second, that's okay. No, that's okay. I just want to make sure.
We call that omniscience.
Or we know what we're talking to here. But the point that you're trying to make as far as him escalating, you have to sort of have to step back for a second and ask yourself, what exactly is he supposed to be dialing back from the right? You're saying that the left is, that after there's violence that happens, the left tries to dial it back. What I'm saying to you is, what violence from the right are you even saying that he should be dialing back?
What violence?
You're trying to sit here and say that he should be
saying we should hang members of our government. Well, you're asking me a question.
No,
when he should hang members of our government, yeah.
Through trial. Through trial.
Through trial.
God, you guys.
Fucking cringe.
There's no way. There's no way. He's either like, I think these guys are just dishonest. I think they're just dishonest. I think they're just wildly dishonest.
Really?
There's a very big difference between saying, hey, these people need to be tried for some very serious crimes that I believe they committed.
And murder. Yeah.
Because he believes they committed them.
Capital punishment is not murder.
Excuse me, sorry, not murder.
When you're the head of the executive.
Fucking loser.
On,
that's honestly the thing that set me off the most was this fake fucking laugh. And I can tell, I don't know if this fucking loser is some talk show or a podcast or whatever the fuck, but I can tell he's used to doing this fake fucking laugh where he acts like he's so smart. He's so fucking stupid. What a dumb, stupid fucking laugh. God, I hate this guy.
Watch that.
So performative.
And murder. Yeah.
Because he believes they committed them.
Capital punishment is not murder.
Excuse me. Sorry, not murder.
When you're the head of the executive and you're saying that your political opposition needs to be investigated, when we've already seen him fabricate indictments, calling out the specific bullshit.
Trump was
that's fine, but the president of the United States isn't ordinarily. Sorry, I know you are pretending to be a lawyer, okay? But
he cut me off, by the way. There, I just noticed that he cut me off, by the way.
Generally speaking, the president of the United States does not give direct instruction to the head of the Department of Justice to issue indictments. That's why the last two cases
they work for him.
Oh, that's great. Well, do they work for him though? Because it seems like she wasn't even legally appointed, was she? Isn't Lizzie Halligan out now? Didn't all that get tossed now? Seems like it's all gone now, right? Huh? All right, looks like that wasn't very legal.
Well, you gotta let Andrew respond. Also,
shit on
no
loser.
one can hear you.
That was good. That was
Go
good.
on your channel. I'm
so
being told.
defensive.
Thank you.
Okay.
What is that laugh?
Andrew, go ahead.
Rule of law matters to some of us.
I feel like I'm watching a Rob Zombie film. Like, that's the kind of laugh you would hear as like a main character was being sexually tortured.
No, so it's kind of annoying to see the president of the United States so flagrantly abuse it.
Okay, first of all, the Department of Justice works for the president. He can tell them what to do. They're part of the executive branch. Second of all, capital punishment is not murder. It's state sanctioned. People get a trial. They get lawyers. They get juries. And sedition was made a capital offense by Congress, not by Trump.
Isn't? Well, we're talking about legal terms, then it wouldn't legally be murder. But murder is just a premeditated act of killing, right? That's all it is.
Unjustified. That's the key part for murder is unjustified.
The unlawful premeditated killing of one human being by another. Okay.
Congress created that law. Third of all violence is not bad. Why do you suggest that all the violence should be tamped down? Violence is not inherently bad.
I agree. BLM violence is good, but Gen 6 violence is bad.
So wait, just curious. When we say the president,
let him finish. Let him finish. Let Andrew finish, and then we can go. And Andrew, you're really low. Can you turn yourself up? Your volume's just low.
When we say the president can give direction to the DOJ, is there any equivalent moment in the last 50 to 100 years of U.S. history where the president of the United States is direct?
Grassroots Hegemon with $5. It wasn't a meme.
Stop missing.
Destiny does that in this conversations. He considers a second-term Trump voter to be a seditionist, meaning 27% of the country. You can't convince me. I'm pretty convinced that I think he's expressing very real rage and frustration, and might I add, valid frustration and rage. I think it's perfectly valid to be enraged by the course of history over the last fucking year. But you can't convince me that it's not like 80% memes. I don't know if he could actually...
Wait, why is my bravery not going up?
...and affect that actual outcome. And, just imprison 27% of the country for sedition. I don't think he would actually press that button.
Why is it stuck at 25?
That's
what's happening?
My sense of things. I could be wrong.
Directing his attorney general on who to prosecute, directing them on issuing indictments to political opponents.
How would you know? Those are private conversations. How would you know?
So the answer to your question was no. The answer to your question was no.
No, you're wrong.
Right?
No,
there is no evidence of any of this.
100% there is.
What's the evidence?
One of the things I'm about to tell you.
He's about to not tell us, by the way. Spoiler alert.
No, I'm telling you right now. The role of the DOJ is to be manifesting the will of the executive. This is one of the things that during the confirmation...
Unitary executive theory. It's
I'm
such
in the middle.
bullshit. You guys don't even believe in this shit.
Let him finish.
You lose your fucking mind.
You see, you don't even
If a Democrat did this, it's such bullshit. Yeah, because this is a child. You don't even believe in this. It's so retarded.
You're terrified of actually hearing an answer. So you have to cut me off when you see I'm making a point that actually just completely blows up everything you were
Can I just short circuit and explain?
No, I don't want to short circuit. Hold on. Destiny, please. Short circuit because you do not know. It's not unitary executive theory. It is the sole purpose of the DOJ is to manifest the will. They are part of the executive branch.
Is that the right? Manifest the will of who?
Of the executive of the president of the United States.
Then why do special counsels exist? Why do special counsels exist?
Special counsels exist for when there's a conflict of interest.
Why would it matter if there's?
Why would that matter if they're only there? Wait, how could there be a conflict of interest if they only exist there to manifest the will of the president?
You're proving
because
my
the president.
No, he's not. What are you talking about? You're saying there's no such thing. You're saying that he's saying that the concept of a conflict of interest doesn't even matter because apparently the DOJ is there to act at the pleasure of the president. The entire purpose of the DOJ is to serve the will of the president and not like enforce the Constitution and our nation's laws.
Then can have a conflict of interest.
Yes.
How can he conflict with interest with his own self, with his own Department of Justice?
Oh my God. Listen. Slow down for a second. Slow down, because I don't think you just understand basic civics about how our
I hate these fucking basic civics. This fucking moron. The president of the United States does not give direct instruction to his attorney general to go and prosecute individuals. Now, can you have a broad agenda or something? Yeah, sure. But there's a reason why, when I very specifically asked, and I don't know if I get back to this, when I asked, can you give me an example of anybody else doing this ever? There's a reason why this norm is set.
Government functions.
Basic civics, but you won't give me an example of anybody doing what Trump did.
You won't.
Every single president has directed their DOJ to focus on one area of law or another that they think is particularly important to
focus
on one area of law. Excuse me, that's not what we're talking about. I mentioned that Trump specifically called for indictments for two specific individuals for political opponents, and he named the prosecutor that he wanted to lead. So who else has done this? So who did this? Who else did it? Did Obama do this? Did Biden do this? Give me
the last. When I looked it up, the last president that tried to direct DOJ to go after political opponents was Nixon. And after that, we established norms to more concretely and clearly define or I guess classify the or establish the independent nature of the DOJ. That was the point. Obama did not direct anyone to prosecute political opponents. But I don't even think that Nixon did that publicly.
True.
I'm not sure if Nixon did that publicly. But we know for sure that Nixon was privately directing DOJ to go after political, not just political groups, but political actors.
How do I know I'm getting the right items?
Who he didn't personally like. But we established these norms, right after Nixon to prevent that kind of thing from happening, because it's horrible for democracy when you think about it.
True.
That was the entire argument that I got in with my chat like a week ago about preserving that norm is actually like insanely important. That is a good norm. We should fight to preserve that norm. Like that is why I was saying that whatever happens with the next administration, if it's a Democratic Party administration, we have a special counsel for this particular process. It was a good thing that Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel. It was a good thing that Joe Biden was not on TV saying we need to go after Donald Trump legally. That was a good thing. We should preserve that.
True.
Should not get rid of that.
Give me an example. Everybody does it. Who does it? Give me an example.
No, Obama did it far worse. Obama did it in a far worse way.
Give me an example. Who did he target?
He's going to bring up the tax thing. I guarantee you 100%.
No convictions.
And even that is bullshit.
Yep.
Because when they looked into who the IRS under Barack Obama was targeting, they discovered that I think it's like a third of them were like progressively aligned nonprofits. So they were not exclusively targeting conservative nonprofits with IRS audits or whatever.
Obama did it far more in a nefarious way, because what he did is he actually weaponized all of his different executive agencies.
Yeah, no example.
Yeah, so like he's doing it 100%. He's not even going to invoke the DOJ here. He's invoking the IRS.
True.
Wait, hold on. Does the IRS serve under the DOJ? No, right?
Probably.
100% no, right? Like the IRS is its own thing, right? No. The IRS is not a part of the Department of Justice. You see what he did, though? This is so fucking sneaky. This guy's so dishonest. It's not that he's stupid. This guy is so dishonest. Destiny asked for an example of modern presidents who like explicitly, egregiously weaponized DOJ against political opponents. He asked for an example, and this guy said, it's even worse with Obama because he weaponized all of the agencies. And now he's going to deflect to the IRS thing because he obviously does not have an example of Obama doing anything like this with DOJ. And to be absolutely clear, the example is bullshit because there's no evidence whatsoever that Obama directed the IRS to go after conservative nonprofits.
True.
It's complete bullshit.
That's so the IRS bullshit. He has no arguments. You have nothing for this.
Hold on, Destiny. Hold on, just real quick, just housekeeping here. Gang, if you keep interrupting, we can't understand what they're trying to say. So please,
I'm trying to make a point,
let Code Logic finish. Then we're gonna go to Bronca, and then you can respond. I promise. But you gotta let him finish, please.
Apparently, I'm saying so much nothing. You need to cut me off in the middle. The point is that he is, as the head of the executive, this is an executive agency. That is what the DOJ is. When you get Adam Schiff up there and he's questioning Pam Bondi, saying, "I'm afraid you're going to be Trump's man." It's for a woman. The point is she's supposed to be. Otherwise, she's not.
That's just not true. You're lying. You're fucking lying. You're fucking lying.
True. You're fucking liar. 100% Biden's man.
Nope.
That's
exactly. Then why was a special prosecutor appointed to investigate Biden's documents?
Because when you have, you're only proving my point.
That's why. That's why.
No, because the point is that if the president was the unitary controller of the attorney general, the president would just tell the attorney general, "Don't investigate this." Do you see how easy that is? You see how stupid your theory is?
Destiny, think for a second. Think. If it was already an independent agency, there could not be a conflict of interest between the DOJ and the president. It's because the DOJ is an extension of the president that you need to have some internal affairs type of agency, which we call special counsel or special prosecutor, to go after.
That's internal affair? Oh, I thought that was what the OIG was. My bad.
Someone who's in the president's orbit. That's why you need it.
Why wouldn't the president just tell them, "Don't do that investigation"? Why wouldn't the president say just don't? Why wouldn't the president say, "Don't investigate that"?
I'm almost done.
Also, like, when did Hunter Biden become convicted of like federal crimes? When did that happen?
because
under whose DOJ?
The fact that the DOJ is viewed as an extension of the president when there's something around the president that might be illegal, that's why you need a third-party special prosecutor to come in. That's what you need. It's the proof that they're actually defaulting, that they are part of the executive agency, part of the will of the president. In fact, that's the only way we, the people, have any power over them is through the president directing them. That's how we actually have representation in who's being prosecuted. Now, go ahead with your question, please.
Sure. So two things. So just real quick. So one, there's a difference between having a legal agenda and directing somebody to prosecute particular political opponents. You acknowledge that, right?
Why? No. Why? Why would that?
How can you not even acknowledge that? Like, he's such a fucking retard. Like, how? Like, that's you can ask the most basic questions. I should start asking like baseline questions. 1 + 1 = 2, right? The Bill of Rights was 10 amendments to the Constitution, right? This is called the United States of America. We have 50 states. I need to start with some baseline. Like,
why is that different?
In a very broad sense. So, like, an appropriate kind of influence that a president could have over the DOJ is to, like, if you wanted to focus on police reforms, which is something that Biden did, for example. I'm pretty sure he wrote a memorandum instructing DOJ to focus on like accountability for police across the country. And so even though he funded the police, like there were like $200 million in funds that through the ARP, I think that, or one of those legislation that was dispersed to law enforcement.
Just load scum?
Various police departments all over the country. But he also, I believe he also instructed DOJ to start looking at the various complaints of police departments that were all over the country. That is like a broad kind of policy agenda. Okay. Like, he's not going after political opponents by instructing or you could instruct DOJ to, you know, look into like potential discrimination against trans people, which is another thing that he did. There is no kind of like political agenda there. He's not using these investigations as a pretense. There you go. I just pinned it. To try to weaponize the DOJ to go after his political enemies. Like, him pretending to not understand the difference is just dishonesty. It's not that this guy is dumb. He's just like incredibly dishonest.
I'm sorry, hold on, let me just restate that. I'm not going to say it. If you want to make yourself sound that stupid, that's fine. You do not recognize a difference or a distinction between a president saying, I would like to focus more on this kind of crime, versus the president saying, these two opponents of mine, political opponents from 2 administrations ago, I want you to prosecute them. If you say there's no distinction,
prosecution?
Well, you wouldn't know until you do the investigation. Isn't that kind of part of what the DOJ does? Number one. Number two.
The DOJ is not an investigative agency. The DOJ is
not. What does the FBI do? How does the DOJ get evidence for an indictment to go to a grand jury? It's under the DOJ.
What do you mean it's a different agency?
Is just
the FBI serves under the banner of the DOJ.
I don't even know what the fuck the point they're trying to make here is.
How are these guys lawyers?
I don't understand what the point of this was.
Guys, excuse me?
What are you, it literally a subsidiary of the DOJ. What are you talking about? Okay, stop. The question was, if this is so ordinary, if this is so commonplace, then just show me one other time it's happened. It should be really easy. If presidents do this all the time, what other president has directed his attorney general? Give me one example. Don't say it happens all the time. Give me an example.
One example.
War on drugs.
War on drugs.
Hold on, just real quick. So
are we just saying random words together?
Stop. Brinka, do you have an answer to his question?
It's irrelevant whether it's ordinary, if it's within the president's authority, and it is. He's allowed to do unordinary things.
Why not just say that? Just say that. It's extraordinary. It's never happened. Yeah, that's great.
I just said that.
Instead of saying everybody does it. Not everybody does it. Trump is the most egregious abuser of the DOJ.
Because you won't stop talking.
Describing this as vaguely as possible. It's, hey, this is the president's purview to do this thing and direct these departments. And we're saying, hey, when has the president ever called for the killing of people within his government in this certain way? Not, hey, he's going and saying, maybe we could kill American citizens if it, helps the war on drugs, or hey, we need to put people to the border.
American citizens. He did.
Oh my God, bro!
Specifically calling for. Yeah, I know that Obama did.
I don't know if he's talking about the drone strike, but there was like a 17-year-old kid that was like fully linked up with and fighting with Al Qaeda, and he died in a drone strike. And it's like, well, he was in a war zone. He was like literally fighting an enemy that we were at war with. or fighting with an enemy that we were at war with.
Asked his DOJ and his Office of Legal Counsel. He had the authority to do it. He didn't direct them. That's the difference between Obama and Trump.
Why does his DOJ give him authority? How does his DOJ give him authority? That's
he went to them for the legal memo. What do you mean? The whole Eric Holder memo literally details this. He went to them to find out if he felt he had the authority to even act this way. There's a difference between him and Trump firing every attorney general that he doesn't agree with.
The president is not subordinate to the Department of Justice.
The president is subordinate to the Constitution and the law. That's why you ask your attorney general if you believe you're following the law. Bro, I can't listen to this fucking moron. What the fuck? Subordinate to the Constitution of the United States, and he's supposed to act in a way that comports with what the law is. So the president...
I don't see... I don't know. I think Destiny might be...
Like, this is like Civics 101. I don't even know why the fuck we're having this argument right now. Like, what do the different parts of the executive branch do? It's so stupid.
In a way that comports with what the law is. So the president...
I don't see... I don't know. I think Destiny might be wrong here, because the idea of establishing the independent nature of DOJ was not even done through legislation. Like that was, I don't think that there were any laws passed to do that. This was just a norm that was established. It's like a voluntary, I guess at this point, non-binding. So Trump ordering DOJ to prosecute Comey and Letitia James, for example, I don't think he's technically violating the Constitution. He's just
he is absolutely violating the Constitution. I'm sure there's constitutional law in this, or somebody can do this or whatever. But the who knows what I'm about to say? When the president of the United States is functioning as our chief executive, would it be, is this what I'm thinking of? Article 2, Section 3? Wait. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, is the part that I'm not hinting at, right? The president of the United States is not supposed to direct his DOJ to do political prosecutions, because this is not taking care that the laws be faithfully executed. This is part of the president's job. Part of the president's mission is to do what he can to execute laws from Congress and to not have his own special, personal, extra-legal agenda that he runs to his DOJ and commands them to carry out.
Violating a long-standing norm that we've had for the better part of 50 years.
The norm originates, I believe, from this idea in the Constitution, that the Department of Justice is not here to carry out the president's personal whims. They're to carry out the laws, to faithfully execute on the laws passed by the Congress. I consult this Department of Justice instead of like Donald Trump, who only confers with his personal attorneys, and instead of breaking every law and hoping to win in court, Obama tried to follow the law ahead of time, which is what you're supposed to do. The law is there to check your behavior before you do. It's not there as a consequence for you to intentionally break it over and over again.
Okay, we gotta let the other side respond without interruption, for a little bit. Okay, just go ahead, Bronca, please. You can respond.
That was a truth
I'll try to make sure you aren't interrupted. Go ahead.
This guy charges $7,500 for a course.
It's okay for Obama to actually kill.
I'll fight about with you later, not in Hutch's chat, LOL. Wait, what are you guys fighting about, Wick? Just food for thought. You're still doing good work. What's going on?
American citizens. Why would it be inappropriate for Trump to advocate killing American citizens without actually doing it?
Because Obama was exercising his powers as the
commander-in-chief,
retard of the military, as the commander-in-chief. As the commander-in-chief, number one, and number two, it was in a theater of war where we already had a pre-existing authorization for the use of military force. In order for it, we already have a broad AUMF that has been not challenged by any prior president to operate in the Middle East. Now,
it was like a legally established war, so I don't even
get fucked.
Morally neutral. Thank you so much for the tier 1 membership. Appreciate it.
Unless I'm not aware of this, were any of the people that Donald Trump said should be tried for seditious conspiracy or whatever, were any of these people part of fucking Al-Qaeda or some terrorist outfit that I'm just not aware of that Trump didn't publicize information about?
Sedition doesn't require that.
Then sedition has nothing to do with...
Do we have any evidence of them committing sedition?
Yes, we have a video of them committing sedition.
It was on video.
Yes.
Oh, okay, wait. So just to be clear. Okay, so Donald Trump retweeting things saying that these people should be tried and executed. That in and of itself is totally fine. But a bunch of people going on video saying you shouldn't follow unlawful orders, which is literally part of the military code. That's seditious behavior?
Yes, it's sedition in the broader political context. Sure.
It's literally not. It's absolutely not. So
what a retarded,
what a weasel answer. In the broader political context, like what the fuck are we even talking about?
Destroyed on that. You've been mogged completely out of existence. What a stupid, how could you possibly think that these people committed seditious conspiracy, but Donald Trump, who's literally retweeting people saying they should be, so
hold on, let them make the argument.
Anytime I say somebody should be killed, I should just say first, oh, he should be tried for a crime and killed first. And then we're safe.
Let me, oh my God. Hold on, stop, please. I want to hear the argument. So the argument about the sedition. Why is it sedition? Why is them going
We got to get Soy Pill to get a word in edgewise here.
On to making an ad saying you should disobey unlawful orders? How is that sedition? Can you make the argument?
That would not be seditious. It's seditious.
It's not just that. It's the context. It's the context in which they're saying that.
The context.
And it's simultaneously they're saying, by the way, everything Trump's doing is unlawful. They're saying,
did they say that in that?
When the fuck did they say that?
The video at all?
They said that in that video.
It doesn't have to.
They said we understand you're under intense pressure.
Okay, so when these people put out a thing, you have to read between the lines and imply what they're saying. But when Trump comes out and say, kill these members of my government,
liberals need to act moral and above board on everything. But Donald Trump is only constrained by the outer perimeter.
I feel like I kind of understand a little bit more about why Destiny has become so black-pilled. It's because he's constantly interacting with people like this, which is very blackpilling.
Who are representative
of delusional interpretation of law. Amazing.
No. When they go out there, and weeks earlier, Slotkin is going out there saying he's issuing illegal orders, and then she comes out here. Okay.
Now,
so you're only making.
Did she say every single thing he does is legal?
Soy pill. What you're doing is you're arguing against yourself.
Just real quick, Andrew, your mic keeps getting lower as you go. I don't know if you're turning it down, but it was good for a minute, and then it's gone lower. And
Soy pill, you're actually arguing against yourself, because when you have these senators and these congressmen and women who go out there and say he's issuing illegal orders, and then they say if an illegal order is issued, you're honor bound on the Constitution to disobey it. The only possible purpose for making that is to basically plant the seed in the minds of military that every time they have an order, they should sit there and try and calculate,
delusional.
Is this constitutional? Do I think it's constitutional? When you try to actually put this into a practical sense, rather than applying it to an
does the military not have legal counsel on site, on hand to advise like generals and military officers?
They do. It's part of what they do. That's kind of, they're involved in every big military operation. They're part of every big strike,
the
every
Office
big
of Legal Counsel.
That's what the JAGs are there for.
The federal government's. Does OLC does that for the military? They get legal advice constantly. Was my understanding.
An individual scenario.
Were both those statements true? Were both the statements true?
Is it JAG? Yeah, there. Yeah.
Was it issuing illegal orders?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
So when it was reported to murder,
sorry, I missed it.
It to an individual scenario.
Were both those statements true? Were both the statements true? Was it issuing illegal orders?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
So when it was reported to murder the people in the Venezuelan boats, even when they blew the boats up, that's not an illegal order.
Not murder.
What is it then? For a country that we're not at war with, what would you consider that?
It's a lawful killing.
Wait.
How is it a lawful killing? What is the law? Self-defense lawyer, you said? What is the... Sorry.
Wait, hold on. My understanding
I was about to
is
get really personal.
Actually, I don't even... What is the legal rationale that the
there's none.
Administration is giving for
I don't even know if they gave any.
Legality of these military strikes? Are they not using the same law that was established in the War on Terror? Dawes Verdani with $5. If there's anything we learn from this, it's that lawyers too can be dumb liars and dumb liars. It's good to know it's not just Rep. Louis Gohmert. Yeah, true.
Soy pill, please.
From this, because Flawed Logic just said there
is it something like the Secretary of State just establishes that someone is a terrorist and that means you can kill him or something?
There's no other possible explanation.
Which name did I get now?
Flawed logic? What was it?
You called him Chud logic. He's good logic. I promise you. It's not God logic.
Anyway,
it's not Chud logic.
The only explanation for Slotkin saying this is to plant the seed of doubt and make them question every order. Why is it in the military training to say you shouldn't obey illegal orders? Is it to make every single military person like question every single order and like?
Ooh, that's a good question, isn't it?
We want to have a military that's insubordinate, or is it because you aren't allowed to follow illegal orders and you
it's
can't
the very same people? That's a good question.
Go ahead.
It's a fair question, Soy Pill. And I'll tell you, it's the very same people and those in their camp who are continually saying there's one illegal order after another where they've continually been proven wrong. They basically been claiming
this isn't answering my question at all. You just said
I will answer.
No, you're
so when
completely.
She's going out
this isn't my question
saying,
at all.
No, because in the military, when they're being trained, they're not being trained. Hey, you're going to be getting a whole bunch of illegal orders. So make sure that you only follow constitutional orders. They don't get that in their training. They don't get that warm up. When you're getting as a follow up, as a follow through to, there's all sorts of unconstitutional orders. And hey, by the way, military, when you get a constitutional order, you better make sure you don't follow it. And there's also even a veiled threat in there. The veiled threat is that when we come back into power, if we decide to determine those are unconstitutional, we're going to prosecute you military members for following these orders. And you're not going to be able to say, and we've even heard Schumer go out there, and we've heard others say that, hey, you're not going to be able to say we were following orders. Remember the Nuremberg trials? That's what the left has been saying right now. So in this entire context, the only reason to do it is to weaken the military and have our military members basically question every single order rather than...
Remember, listen to, this is what I'm saying also when I say these people are bad faith, okay? Donald Trump, we're here on January 6th protesting the outcome of the election. We need to give our congressmen the strength to make the right choice and choose our electors. We need to fight like hell or we're going to lose our country. Everybody goes to the Capitol, right? For the first time in all of U.S. history, the U.S. Election Electoral Count Act is delayed. But that's just like a coincidence that happened, I guess, right? We don't attribute that directly to Trump. Meanwhile, 6 people making a video saying, military, you do not have to follow unlawful orders. We understand there's been a lot of pressure on you. Remember, you don't have to follow unlawful orders. Now we're going to use the most contextual reading possible, every single thing going on in the political climate, and say that this is seditious behavior. Never mind the fact that the people that were actually convicted of seditious conspiracy were all pardoned by Trump.
Relying on the default that our military has had for the last 250 years that, hey, when I get an order, it's constitutional.
We gotta let Soy Pill respond.
Only reason. Could it be possible? Is there not a world that exists in which Donald Trump has done something illegal and people want the people not to follow that order? Is that possible?
They will never in a million years ever acknowledge the possibility of this. Carrie, thank you so much for $10. Top JAG leaders were fired. In general, Trump admin is hostile to them and want broader power to make their own determinations. Killer streamed. Hey, Carrie, thank you so much for $10 and for edifying us.
They can't name one.
Okay. Well, I just named one.
The murder of the Venezuelan people after the boats, killing people after the boats already been destroyed. Not only that's a war crime and it's illegal in the United States. You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
The debate has devolved so much that he's just doing a nah. Like that's
great argument.
After the boats, killing people after the boats already been destroyed. Not only that's a war crime and it's illegal in the United States. You can't do that.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
Are you just not going to elaborate on that?
Great arguments. Yes, you can. No, you can't.
No, wait.
Okay, man, he did Destiny break this guy? I just feel like he just short circuited.
Then I will break your body.
That's like I feel like that's like the worst offense that you could commit as a lawyer.
By a music school dropout YouTuber.
Is if you just if all you can come up with is like, yeah, you can.
Hold on, let's pause here.
I can appeal to the Rome Statute. I know we're not party to the ICC. I can appeal to international customary humanitarian law. You're not allowed to kill people that are no longer enemy combatants. Like what for military law, you're not allowed to kill people that have already surrendered. White flag laws and all of these things are part of our military code of conduct. So what are you citing? What do you think that you're allowed to kill people who are able to participate in combat?
I just try raped that dude. Oh my god.
Uh-oh. What the fuck happened?
Anymore. What are you citing to? What do you think? What?
They weren't surrendered.
They were. How do you even know they were shooting at them from fucking drones?
Okay, just real quick.
They weren't surrendered.
Just real quick before we go on, just to add some context to this. Hold on, stop, please. In the DoD's Law of War Manual, and this was updated in July 2023, and I'm going to just read from this directly. This can give some context to the audience. Under Section 5.9, persons placed hors de combat. Persons, including combatants, placed hors de combat may not be made the object of attack. Persons placed hors de combat include the following categories of persons, provided they abstain from any hostile act and do not attempt to escape. 1. Persons in the power of an adverse party. 2. Persons not yet in custody who have surrendered. 3. Persons who have been rendered unconscious or otherwise incapacitated by wounds.
And I assume clinging to a floating piece of debris in the open sea would qualify as being incapacitated, unless you're making the argument
mermaids
that the
mermaid
threat
fighters
would be that this guy would be able to swim to
warriors.
Florida and then pull out a gun and start shooting people, I guess.
Sickness or shipwreck, and 4. Persons parachuting from aircraft in distress. So if the Washington Post report is correct, Andrew, could you give us the legal reasoning that, in your opinion, in your argument, why those shipwrecked narco guys were illegal?
Does he have to be careful when he's on a podcast? Like, can you say something on a podcast and then face some kind of consequence from the bar? Or is it only in the context of a trial? Get ready for this. Oh boy, is this a good one?
Legal target.
Well, they weren't shipwrecked. They were blown up. What?
What do you think shipwrecked means?
Shipwrecked means a ship wrecks on a reef. On
no, that's not what it means.
On a reef. It's pirate. We're on pirates rules. It's gotta crash.
Your ship has been rendered incapacitated. It could have been because it got wrecked, or it could have been it got blown up. The reality is that the people on the ship, even if they were enemy combatants, of which we have no proof of, by the way, even if they were, as soon as they're
a shipwreck. So if something is shipwrecked, it just means that you suffer a shipwreck. So, and a shipwreck is the destruction of a ship at sea by sinking or breaking up, e.g. in a storm or after running aground. Or if we go to dictionary.com, number 1, a wrecked ship or its parts. Number 2, the destruction or loss of a ship. Number 3, an irretrievable loss or failure. Shipwreck as a verb is to cause to experience shipwreck. And number 2, to destroy a ship by grounding or foundering. Is this guy just making shit up?
What?
Is a lawyer just like
is a Trump supporter making shit up?
Language?
No
like,
shot.
the ship has been incapacitated.
They were blown up.
In your opinion, in your argument, why those shipwrecked narco guys were a legal target?
Well, they weren't shipwrecked. They were blown up.
What do you think shipwrecked means?
Shipwreck means a ship wrecks on a reef, on
no,
a shore.
that's not what it means. It means your ship has been rendered incapacitated. It could have been because it got wrecked, or it could have been it got blown up. The reality is...
Even middle guy's like, oh, well, I don't know about that. Even middle guy's smiling. He's like, oh, well, I don't know.
But their Trump dick sucks, so they have to stay together.
Even if they were enemy combatants, of which we have no proof of, by the way, even if they were, as soon as their ship has been rendered unable to perform any combat functions, and the people in the water, they have obtained...
Where does it say that?
No. Well, you're a lawyer. Hey, I'm curious. Wait. No. Inform us. You're a lawyer. When there are words that appear legally and there are statutes, how would you figure out? How would you figure out what it actually means? What would you do? Right? What would you look up? We look up case law.
Are you allowed to shoot enemy soldiers who are running away?
Yes, but they're not running away.
Okay. So why is this any different?
Because they're floating in the water. They're floating in the water. They're floating in the water.
I am floored right now. Like, you guys told me that this was bad, but I didn't know it was. This is a shipwreck. Is what we're witnessing right now. Just a brain, just a total shipwreck of any kind of fucking logic.
Because they're shipwrecked. They don't have the opportunity. They're not running away. They're in water. They're shipwrecked.
What about soldiers who are running away? They're not attacking you at the moment.
Because soldiers that are running away are still considered part of combat. Fleeing is a military operation.
Right. Why would these people in the boats get the benefit of the law of warfare where they're not engaged in any recognized...
Do you see how he jumps ship to a totally different line of argumentation, right? Like, if that was the case, oh, wait, hold on. We're not even talking rules of war because he lost on all the rules of war. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Also, by the way, preeminent national person on self-defense doesn't know anything about international law relating to self-defense. That's kind of weird. Kind of seems like he's probably full of shit about everything he says and talks about. But like, notice how he jumped ship completely. Well, okay, well, actually, forget rules of war. They didn't even qualify for the rules of war. Like, you can just indiscriminately murder random people as long as they aren't in a uniform.
Why would these people in the boats get the benefit of the law of warfare where they're not engaged in any recognized military force or warfare?
Because when you're not a fucking savage, that's how you conduct yourself as a first world country, especially as a country that says that we don't exist under the Rome Statute because we're not signatories to the ICC. We have our own military courts that are supposed to hold our own behavior accountable. That's why stuff like Abu Ghraib and that's why stuff like Gitmo is not always on the up and up, and some of it we went after. So the answer is there is international customary humanitarian law where all of us agree that there are certain rules. You can't torture people, you can't rape people, you can't capture people. Well, I'm informing you since you apparently don't know anything about international law.
You're not answering the question. Just let me know when you're done.
The question specifically is you can't murder people that are just swimming.
For people to have the protection of the law of war, they have to qualify for the protection of the law of war. These are regular combatants engaged in chemical warfare against the United States.
What chemical war? This guy's a combatant engaged in psychological warfare.
Wait, what?
Qualify for the law of war.
Number one, even if what you just said was true, they do qualify. Number two, you have no evidence of any of those claims. An enemy combatant that is shipwrecked qualifies for prisoner of war status. Where what?
He's so fucking gaped right now. This guy has never in his life been. This is what I'm talking about when I say. Also, by the way, a couple things. One, so obviously this is not my demeanor when I was talking to all the Daily Wire people, but this is like the kind of destiny that like Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson wouldn't want to talk to. This is what I mean, because these people are not used to challenging conversations. They can't establish any facts. They have to jump ship. Get it? Jump ship from every argument they make as they become shipwrecked over and over again. This is why people like this don't ever go on challenging platforms, because they get straight up fucking humiliated, especially if they happen to end up arguing against somebody who knows what they're talking about. They get humiliated because he has no fucking clue what he's talking about.
And I guess this is what the Trump administration is doing, but they're trying to like the way that they're trying to establish or frame these narco traffickers is that they're they're selling like cocaine to people in America in order to like weaken or destroy the populace instead of, like to make money.
Which is crazy.
So they're trying to classify it as chemical warfare, which is, I've never heard that. Has that logic ever been used in any kind of criminal proceeding? The idea of like importing drugs is an act of chemical warfare. Some white guy with $5 to be clear about the point he just made. They aren't military members, so they don't get protections of war. What the actual fuck? So is the logic that there are just like no protections? This is just a complete lawless.
Then they would just be civilians.
Like there's just no law that governs this kind of thing. I don't even understand that rationale. I have to do with $2. Destiny should have called trolling on this. I don't know how to make sense of any of this. This guy is just unraveling.
They're not in uniform. They're not.
They don't have to be in uniform.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. I know.
Hold on. Andrew, please finish your point.
Trump just commits war crimes. That's what he will say.
You guys, gang, I love the energy. I love the passion. It's really great content. But we got to let Andrew finish his point. Please, Andrew, go ahead.
No, I'll let Destiny go. I just do want to say, however, that
I just wanted to preach to the audience.
I misunderstood what the nature
I didn't know I was
going to
be challenged on my points.
I'm unlikely to stay for 2 hours to get yelled at by Destiny. That's not a good use of my time.
You're right.
If we can maybe have questions and answers and people have an opportunity to exchange views and positions.
Get the fuck out of here.
No.
Pussy.
He got mogged by a YouTuber and then just ran.
Molested.
My goodness.
Molested.
How could you ever show your face in public ever again after this? How could you look at yourself in the mirror after this? Grassroots Hegemon with $5. Look, the next time you get barbecued out of your mind at a family function, tell them you're a victim of chemical warfare. Yeah. Bush Mills is committing chemical warfare on the populace. Every Super Bowl Sunday is like 9/11. Das Vidani with $2. Not since the Opium War has this argument been used. So it has been used before.
We don't have to agree, but we can inform the audience that way. Getting yelled.
Dude, the Opium Wars, I just learned about that. Yo, the Opium Wars were crazy. That shit was crazy. The British like militarily attacked China to preserve their right to sell opium to Chinese people. That shit was nuts.
That by Destiny for 2 hours isn't informing
our
anybody.
Goods.
Like they occupied Beijing or something. Like wasn't it? Didn't they occupy like where did they occupy? They militarily occupied a Chinese city to force China to allow them to sell the public opium.
I'll be nicer.
I guess
we probably get more. We'll probably get further if you actually let people like respond, and rather than just trying to cut them down before they finish, you actually just let them respond.
Was it Hong Kong?
It would be nice if they were responsive to my questions. That'd be nice. We probably
we got it. Okay.
And instead of mischaracterizing as not being responsive, I'll tell you. You tell me how it fails to respond, and I'll tell you how it is. And Andrew could do the same.
Let's bring it back. What was the question for the debate?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Please, I'm trying to rein it back in. Right. We're going to be talking about the shooting of the National Guard members. Right. And who bears.
A-Track was in the Coast Guard for 10 years. He's just inventing this as he goes.
Screen.
If you use this as a defense in a military court, you'd be absolutely cooked. Is this something that lawyers do, though?
No.
Like if a lawyer goes into a trial and they're not prepared for a particular answer
You're not supposed to do
a
this.
witness gives, for example, do they regularly just try to just desperately make shit up?
No.
And wouldn't that be a sign that you didn't do your job?
Probably.
I assume that probably a big part of the job of being a lawyer is that you are literally I assume that one of the primary ways that we would evaluate a lawyer's skill or talent at their job or their proficiency at their job would be their ability to prepare for any answer, right? Wouldn't that be the thing to determine who are the good lawyers and who are the bad lawyers?
There's responsibility and to what extent they bear responsibility, and if Trump does so. So let's kind of reset, get it back on track. Okay, so
I have a question because they really want to answer questions.
Go ahead, ask your question. I better be.
Certainly lawyers can't just make shit up. A shipwreck is when you run into a coral reef. What? That was insane. It kind of makes sense that he wants to rage quit after saying that, because I'm sure that there was a big part of him internally that was like, ooh, that probably wasn't
pretty
great.
stupid.
On track, or else we're go ahead.
Do you think Donald Trump has ever toned down rhetoric, or has he only ever made it worse in the last year?
He's allowed to engage in rhetoric. He's a politician. He has no.
That's not what I asked. He's allowed.
I'm sorry.
I asked if he has. I thought you were.
Oh no, this guy. Oh no, this guy, bro.
It's such an easy.
You were here to answer my questions,
easy
not
question.
say whether or not it was okay what Trump did.
All right, I get to speak what I'd like to say. Is that okay?
You can
tell the audience.
Can I say what I want to say?
Let him give his answer, and if it's not responsive to your question, you can remind him of that after he's given his answer. Go ahead.
I don't work for you, Soy Pill. I don't have to answer questions to your satisfaction.
Yeah, well, you also have a.
What did you think this was? Why would you go on a WIC panel if you're gonna fucking act like this? I've never seen anything like this.
This is every debate with every conservative ever, though.
Paying attention
but
to
this is all
Twitch
of them.
politics
this
and
is
debate
literally
panels. I've just never
every single
seen
one of these fucking guys.
Somebody
now.
collapsed quite like this before. This is so bad.
The reason why you don't see it is because they don't go on challenging platforms.
Okay, I'm gonna have to start meeting people. Okay, I hate to do this.
I'm gonna bow out if this is. I'm not spending 2 hours of my night like this. This is pointless.
He's like Katie Miller.
Baby.
He's doing the Katie Miller strat. She did this on Piers Morgan. Cenk was triggering her so much that she was appealing to Piers Morgan to try to discipline Cenk.
You just answer my question.
Finish your statement, Andrew. Go ahead, please.
State your question, Soy Pill, and I will provide the answer I believe is appropriate for me. Go ahead.
I believe.
Okay. Has Donald Trump ever turned down the rhetoric, or has he only ever inflated it and made it worse?
I think
Especially in the last year.
Okay, the question's irrelevant because Donald Trump has no obligation to turn down the
Okay, cool. So you're not going to answer my question. So you can stop talking now. You can bow out now.
No, we can. No, we can't.
Get him out. Get him out.
Muted him.
See ya later, bitch. Later.
Okay, I muted.
No.
See ya.
Soy Pill with the kill shot. Oh no.
Later. What a pussy, dude. Unreal. That's just unreal.
Oh no, you guys. Soy Pill was the one that got him in the end. It was just foreplay with Destiny for 20 minutes. Is what happened. And then Soy Pill got to insert it at the end there.
Jesus. I guess
insert it.
Remember at the start I said this is what all Republicans do. Is Trump is just given the outer perimeter of what he's legally allowed to do, but then on the other end, by the way, those politicians were allowed to make that video, right?
Oh my God.
Well, hold on.
I think they probably broke the law. Actually,
you're unfucking believable. You're disgusting. It's subhuman. I can't believe that you guys.
Give him a chance to argue. Okay, why? Hold on, just real quick, Destiny, please. Why did they break the law? Give us that argument, please.
I should have watched this
when they're under 18 U.S.C. 2387, that they're trying to demoralize and discourage the military from actually following the commanding officers. That's what they're trying to do. That's what their objective is. You know it also. You can pretend that you don't know that that's what their objective is. Their objective is that every time an order comes down, which the left may
take him to trial, then do it again. I mean, like, I don't know. This I think, like, here's something that I think should give.
Hey, thanks for coming to Connecticut yesterday. What was this? Me and my girlfriend really enjoyed seeing you debate in person. I wish there was more time for not being questions from the crowd. My friend with the fur down trapper hat wanted to debate you on your drip. Nice.
Some of you guys, the white pill, like Donald Trump thought it would just be this, I don't know what he thought, to be honest, but he acted like he thought it was just be this simple thing that he would just write down on a piece of paper. You need to prosecute this person, and then the courts would just haul him off to jail or whatever. But they keep losing in really humiliating fashion.
Because they're stupid. They fired everybody that knew what they were doing.
So the system is providing that's a pretty significant check. That is the difference between like the American system and maybe countries that don't have like a robust legal framework to operate under. The Republicans, the conservatives, all throughout the Biden years and during the Obama years, we saw shades of it earlier in this discussion. They thought that it was just as simple as, and this is what Democratic presidents were doing. They were telling their audience that Democratic presidents were just like telling the legal system to jail their opponents. And in doing that, they were establishing this kind of like precedent where now all of a sudden it's like, well, we're in charge now and we can just throw people in jail. Well, they keep suffering these humiliating losses by targeting their opponents. You know, like James Comey and McCabe, for example, they both experienced IRS audits in the same year. What are the odds of that happening? Very few people get audited in this country. As a percentage of the country, it's a tiny percent. It's like 1% to 2% of people each year experience an audits. And you're telling me the two guys at the leadership structure of the FBI experienced IRS audits in the same year? And what happened in the case of Comey? He actually got a $400 refund when they tried to do an audit against him. They tried to go after Comey and Letitia James just recently with the mortgage fraud stuff. They just announced new charges against Eric Swalwell in California. I assume the same thing's going to happen there. And I wonder what's going through the head of Trump supporters and MAGA supporters watching these investigations just like fall apart. Are they frustrated? Do they feel a sense of like impotence?
It's the deep state, bro.
Do they even know about it? Does it show up on their feeds? The whole thing is just so embarrassing, but it does give you a sense, or at least I don't know about you guys, but for me, it does give me a sense of like, you know what? It seems like our legal system is actually like pretty good. You know, there's some problems and some flaws that pop up from time to time, but you know, you can't just like throw someone in jail if you're the president. You can't just direct your DOJ to go after somebody and then just like reasonably expect that anybody you direct them to go after are going to end up in jail. Like you do have to go through a legal process, and the threshold to throw people in jail is pretty high. And I don't know, like that, like Trump has made me appreciate our institutions and our laws and our Constitution in ways that I didn't before he was president. Wow. And I can't be the only one that's had that kind of experience.
Wow.
It's taken Trump coming along and trying to trample on these things for me to finally not take them for granted, I think, in the way that I did.
Hold on.
So, yeah, I guess you could say I owe Donald Trump. He did me a favor. And then there's ICE. And then there's ICE. But in any case, my voice is starting to give out. I haven't streamed I didn't stream for like a week because I was like, fucking, I'm getting old. What's going on? Like physical stuff affects me more than it did before. Like I've got an issue now where I can't play video games. Like I can't hold a controller and just let my arms just like fall unsupported because my joints start hurting. That's new. Like my shoulder joint starts hurting a lot. If I just so I have to use the arm supports on my fucking Herman Miller chair, and I have to like rest my elbows on the arm supports. Like it hurts. The joint pain it hurts, dude. I don't know. Is that arthritis? I don't know. Does this look like I've never been to a gym? So yeah, like 100%. Like I have to make a conscious effort on my posture in ways that I never had to before. Yeah. Anyways, not get sidetracked. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me on the stream today. I did not intend on taking almost an entire week off.
Why is he taking so much time off, fake streamer?
This might be a hot take. I think it's a waste of airtime, a waste of a...
Very soon we're going to start doing it on land too.
Chat, I think it's almost a bit of a... this might be a hot take. I think it's a waste of airtime, a waste of everybody's time to ask these like tippy-toeing questions like that in like some topic like all I'm saying.
We know every route, we know every house.
So where's the time?
We know where they manufacture this crap. We know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to...
Here's a question mark. Brother,
here's a question
mark. I could be completely wrong about this. Is this about the boat that was carrying like fucking bales of fucking drugs and shit?
Oh my god.
Brother, this is the modern day nuke. Brother.
What?
I don't give a fuck what you say. There is there's enough drugs to kill more than an entire fucking warhead nuke missile. What the fuck are you talking about?
Wow.
Bro, they're importing nukes for free. Then what? Where do you draw the line? This is awful. This is awful, man.
Kill survivors after the...
No, I support the decision to knock out the boats, and whoever's piloting those boats.
How many deaths does a nuke does? What? 50K? 50K? If you drop a nuke, how many people die? 50K. Let's say something like that, right? 50K, 30K, something like that. So like 60K. If you have your fucking boat full of fent and shit, let's say you have a boat full of fent.
It's a cultural nuke too, has chatted
around
a big city.
How much does that kill?
It's depressing.
Not just immediately, over time, with addiction, how much people die for that? Fucking hundreds of thousands. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Awful. Dude. Awful.
No. Yo guys, I'm not gonna lie.
So it's like the argument. There was argument then. Guys, there was argument then. Oh, they got double tapped. Oh, then bad. Bad, but I don't know what are the rules. I would have to see what happened. What happened?
This is the complete opposite of jail because everybody...
Bro, they launched a missile onto a fucking banana boat and people survived? Whoa, what the fuck? How?
No. Yo guys, I'm not gonna lie. This is the complete opposite of jail because everybody here will be black.
Okay, I'm good. Another retarded X take on Trump. Why? I don't need to get triggered by XQC.
Do you know how many colors the Smithsonian has in their possession that don't exist anymore?
No. What was that question? How many colors the Smithsonian has?
They are in possession of 150 colors that are no longer in existence.
Oh, you are
That's my
autistic.
passion.
That's
Yeah.
proper autism.
Yeah.
Everyone, it's
Everyone's a little
everywhere.
It's a spectrum.
No, I don't think I am
It's like
at
no
all.
one's fully straight.
No, I don't think I'm autistic at all.
Oh.
I cry everything. Yeah. It came around like 6 years ago?
Autism?
Yeah.
Because of the vaccine?
It used to be called rude.
I'm dead.
Remember rude?
Do you remember Rude? They've rebranded.
Remember Rude? Yeah. Now someone
they
could
changed
be like
their logo, like Jaguar.
Someone could be a fucking dickhead, and they're like, he's so autistic. And I'm like, I don't care. What am I need to read the DSM-2? I'm not a doctor.
Sorry. Okay, I'm not getting triggered. Destiny, we met at the Yale event. Thank you for supporting autism. Good one. Oh boy. 13 minutes ago.
Brand new information blowing a huge hole in the Washington Post reporting of a double-tap strike on a suspected narco boat in the Caribbean. Navy Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley telling lawmakers that there was no kill-them-all order from Secretary of War Pete Hegseth in the September 2nd attack that killed 2 suspected drug boat traffickers. And ABC News now reporting those survivors were actually trying to salvage the drugs. And Senator Tom Cotton, who saw the video with his own eyes, backs up that account.
I saw 2 survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs down the United States back over so they could stay in the fight. And potentially
flip their boat. Oh, what the fuck is he talking about? They were trying to flip their boat to get back into the fight against the U.S. military.
given all the context we heard of other narco-terrorist boats in the area coming to their aid to recover their cargo and recover those narco-terrorists.
And Democratic Congressman Jim Himes, who was in the room for Admiral Bradley's testimony, even he admits that the second strike was indeed on drug traffickers.
What I saw in that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. The United States military attacking shipwrecked sailors. Bad guys, but attacking shipwrecked sailors. Yes, they were carrying drugs. They were not in the position to continue their mission. The last thing I'm going to say is that the Admiral confirmed that there had not been a kill them all order and that there was not an order to grant no quarter.
No quarter orders are also violative of the rules of war. You can't say, I think even in the DoD military manual, you can't say like that's like I think they list in the DoD manual, that's an explicit. If your commander says this as an illegal order, you ignore this. No quarter will be given, meaning even if somebody surrenders or gives up, you still kill them. That's just illegal. You can't do that. Even in the United States, you're not allowed to say that.
Knowing all of this now, it gives me an understanding of why when Bradley was walking into the Capitol this morning, he looked very confident.
This guy, douchebag, yeah, shipwrecked sailors. They're narco-terrorists, you bonehead. That guy had to roll back everything he said, and while he was rolling it back, he still kept digging a grave. What an idiot. I love watching people who were suddenly experts at war crimes because they have like Grok or AI. You got to remember, what were these people experts at before, right? Climate. They were experts at that, lecturing us on climate. Gender, race, presidential competence. They built, by corrupting the media industry, they built this house where they have no credibility for the future, especially this story. It's like, it was so on the nose. Like 6 Democrats release a video suggesting that there could be possibly an illegal military action coming soon. And then just like magic, you get this story. It just appears. This is too engineered to be real. It's like a boss coming up to you and saying, I wouldn't buy a new car if I were you because he knows you're not getting a raise. This is it's almost unbelievable how stupid they think we are. And yet they keep pulling these hoaxes over and over again.
It does show, Kennedy, that if you have a big blockbuster story with one anonymous source, like maybe take a beat before you comment on it. Well, the problem is that the story ended up being true and more horrific than we even knew. My initial assumption was like a double tap. Like they shot the boat once, it blew up. There were some sailors. A minute later, they did a second shot. Pretty bad. The fact that it was like 40 fucking minutes of them swimming around on their blown up little dinghy ship. Also, I thought there was like a larger ship, not like an actual fucking like a boat thing. I don't know what the fuck you would call it. Makes it even worse.
And this is what often happens, is they can easily be proven wrong. And, what they didn't realize was everyone who had seen the footage corroborated what the Admiral is testifying before Congress. That, yes, there were survivors, and they were obviously, their lives depend on whether or not they get the drugs from point A to point B. But I think we're getting distracted by this. I think this is one of these stories where we're getting so distracted in the hair splitting that we're losing sight of the bigger picture. And the bigger picture should be, is this really the best way to combat narco-terrorism? And, I will continue to argue that the best way to do that is to reduce demand in this country. And we don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about it with our kids. We don't admit that people have a massive appetite for drugs in this country. And even if we're blowing the living crap out of boats in the Caribbean, they will find another way. It is incredibly lucrative. These are
I didn't hear this. The initial hit on the vessel, believed to be carrying cocaine, killed 9 people immediately and split the boat in half, capsizing it, causing a massive smoke plume into the sky. The sources who viewed the video as part of the briefing said, part of the surveillance video was a zoomed-in, higher-definition view of the 2 survivors clinging to a still-floating capsized portion, they said. For a little under an hour, 41 minutes, according to a separate U.S. official, Bradley and the rest of the U.S. Military Command Center discussed what to do as they watched the men struggle to overturn what was left of their boat, the sources said. Ultimately, Bradley told lawmakers he ordered a second strike to destroy the remains of the vessel, killing the 2 survivors on the grounds that it appeared that part of the vessel remained afloat because it still held cocaine, according to one of the sources. The survivors could hypothetically have floated to safety, been rescued, and carried on with trafficking the drugs, the logic went. The other source with direct knowledge of the briefing called that rationale fucking insane.
multi-billion-dollar agencies. These are not just cartel families that we saw in Narcos Mexico, which is one of my favorite series on Netflix ever. These are massive enterprises that are incredibly creative and adept at finding new ways to deliver to American noses exactly what they want. And that's what we have to deal with in this country, because going, drugs are bad, okay? It has not been enough of a deterrent.
I have to disagree. That is what makes this so different. It's not just saying drugs are bad. It's like, no, we realize the war on drugs was a failure. This is an actual literal, we're taking it to them, and especially since we're not talking about drugs anymore. We're talking about really one little fentanyl, like a kid going and getting coke or Xanax and dying. That's not what we're talking. That's not recreational partying drugs. This is basically homicide. You're killing hundreds of, guy goes out, buys a Xanax off a friend and he dies. That's not recreational drugs. That's murder. So I think it's a different thing than the way you portray it. And how dare you?
I agree with you there. And that's what's so scary is kids have an appetite for doing things that are dangerous, that cross the line, that make their parents really upset. And it's like, I have a child in college and it scares the crap out of me because this stuff is so incredibly pervasive. And it doesn't matter the lectures or how you raise them. It is a moment of curiosity. You're absolutely right. That takes someone's life. And I cannot tell you how many people I know who've either lost a family member to a fentanyl overdose. You know, a good friend of mine lost her stepson because he did cocaine for the first time that was laced with fentanyl. And those are the people who are dying.
Yes.
But it's still an appetite and a curiosity and a form of rebellion that we have not gotten our heads around.
If I could, just before I go to Harold and Jesse, I just want to play this because in 1989, somebody that we used to see on TV periodically when he was at the White House, he said this in 1989, Joe Biden.
Why would you lace cocaine with fent? Drugs do different things at different intensity levels. So, for instance, like alcohol is a central nervous system depressant, right? So the more you drink, the more sluggish everything will get, and you kind of like slow down a little bit. But like if you take like a little bit of alcohol, you can get like energized, right? It can the social lubricant, like you can feel like you're chatting and having fun or whatever. I'm pretty sure fentanyl at like very, very, very small doses produces like a nice like kind of semi-upbeaty, like euphoric effect. So if you mix a little bit of fent with a little bit of cocaine, then theoretically you're selling more cocaine now than you would have otherwise for the same. You're making way more money, basically. Not that you should do this. Don't test your drugs. Don't test your drugs. Test your drugs if you're doing anything like that. But drugs in very small doses can have a different effect than the same drug at a larger dose.
Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
Isn't that the same policy?
Sort of. I agree with Kennedy.
Fent and coke are contraindicated, and fent is way more expensive than coke. I might just be fucking crazy then. I would bet my entire life against that statement, unless you know something that I don't. My understanding is cocaine is like one of the most expensive recreational drugs, and fentanyl due to the, you're being trolled. Never mind.
I hate to disagree.
Just kidding. Trolled. Good job. You got me.
Piled in the table. I agree with you. You said it well, the appetite and curiosity. It has to be both. I don't have an issue at the same time of going after these narco-terrorists and these boats, but it would seem to me, DP, what might be better to reconcile, I think, even what then Senator Biden was saying, maybe intercept these guys, find out who the big guys are behind them. They're not the ones, these guys in these little boats, I want to stop them, but they're not the guys that are behind these massive criminal enterprises that are flooding our country with these drugs. And we are kidding ourselves if we don't address what Kennedy so eloquently laid out. My kids are only 11 and 10, but you just don't know what they're going to touch or what's going to happen. You got to drill in them that appetite and that curiosity. We got to figure out how we stop it.
You can do both.
You can do both.
You can do both.
I know,
you can do both.
but I don't think this is necessarily the best way to do it.
So you can't do both.
No, the best way. No. When I say I don't think blowing up these boats, sure, some of them, but figure out who's behind all of this.
I think you could do that, and you could do what you're talking about. You can do three things.
You can do four. I agree with you. I agree with you.
Blow everything up.
I will say this. I remember after Operation Midnight Hammer, there was a lot of media frenzy and speculation from the left and the right, and about what happened, how successful the mission was. And Secretary Hegseth and Lieutenant General Kane, who I think at the time I called him Raising Kane, might have been the Joint Chiefs already. They stood before the press corps and took a variety of questions. As I listened to Secretary Hegseth and President Trump and Ms. Leavitt and Admiral Bradley, they don't all seem to be on the same page over the last few days. DP would have a much better and smarter perspective on this than I do. But as I just listened to them, I think it would behoove the Secretary and this Admiral Bradley to stand before and answer some of these questions, the questions they can answer, so we can get some of the nonsense behind
it. You don't think they did that today?
They didn't do it publicly. They did it before the Senate.
Maybe they. I mean, but
all I'm saying is Lieutenant General Kane and Secretary. Well, Hegseth and Kane went before the country.
What happened to transparency, guys?
Midnight Hammer. Why can't they go before the country and the press and answer some of these questions?
Over. I mean,
it's a one-shot deal. This is an ongoing operation.
The Iranian thing's an ongoing operation.
Not anymore. We blew it to smithereens. I agree with you. I disagree with you.
Why do you disagree with me?
Because you can deal with it on the demand side. You've got to stop doing the cocaine, but you also have to take it to the supply side. But Harold, we've been interdicting these ships for 4 decades as it hasn't worked. We've been having Coast Guard cutters go off into the Caribbean and Pacific and capture these boats. And do these guys ever sing to who's the boss? No, they don't do anything. And then we send them back, we lock them up, and they escape.
Don't you remember Miami Vice?
We have to do something different. The argument the Democrats are making is we have to do the same thing we've been doing since 1980, which is treat this as a police action. And it hasn't worked. So now we're taking the fight to the enemy, and we can already tell it's working because Maduro's scared. He might leave to the Middle East. Mexico's shaking in their boots. They know that they could be next. And the Colombian guy is like on his last leg. So I like the policy, and it's not a controversial policy. You know Mark Thiessen, Dana? He did an interview today with the acting director of the Defense Intelligence Agency under Barack Hussein Obama. For 5 years, this guy was calling all the shots. This is what he said. At the heart of it, we use double taps all the time. I mean, some of them probably were injured, yet you hit him again. And it was something that had bipartisan support on Capitol Hill. How about this? Dan Crenshaw. I can't recall any time in my history of doing counterterrorism ops where we strike a group, whether it's a building or a boat or a vehicle, and then we were like, oh, there's survivors? We have to go. We can't kill them. Of course we killed them. This is not even a debatable issue. If these guys are radioing the cartel and are climbing back, not injured, into the boat and about to pick up the dope and send it back to another boat, then the boat's still operational and the coke is still there, and it's a deadly poison to the United States.
Let me be clear. I don't disagree. I don't mind them blowing it up. I think they were right. My only point is Kennedy raises the point we're trying to figure out is how do we combat and reduce drug use and deaths in our country, and we have to do all of this. So,
Yes, we have to stop doing
you need to
so
correct
much
yourself because I
flow.
said exactly that.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest
Click
interviews
here,
and most
guys.
compelling analysis.
Click here,
You won't get
guys.
it anywhere else.
Was Ryan Beth's analysis? This might be a spooky one. Oh boy.
Something really weird just happened in Congress. It's the kind of thing that kind of makes you check your coffee to make sure there wasn't NyQuil put in it. Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky is siding with the Democrats, those Democrats, on restricting President Trump's ability to use military force against Venezuela. This isn't a rumor.
I'm very fearful that these boat strikes and the positioning of our ships and our troops right off the coast of Venezuela is a prelude to war.
I'm actually in Estonia right now.
Oh, that's
at
not
a
weird.
NATO
Rand Paul's usually like the
cybersecurity
libertarian guy, right?
exercise, and I've got to get to work soon, but I think I can knock this out really quick. We have an actual honest-to-God joint resolution co-sponsored by Tim Kaine, Ron Paul, Chuck Schumer, Adam Schiff, ordering the removal of U.S. forces from hostilities with or against Venezuela unless Congress specifically authorizes it. Now, this is basically a war powers smackdown saying if you want a war, you need to ask Congress first. And normally in Washington, at least right now, you can't get Democrats and Republicans to agree on lunch, let alone congressional war powers. But this is kind of like the peanut butter and jelly sandwich that nobody really saw coming, and Rand Paul's explanation on Twitter makes sense. He said Congress must debate and authorize military actions, and that presidents, even presidents you might support, don't get a blank check to just drop bombs because they're the president.
If it's soldiers with guns shooting our soldiers, I'm fine with that. But this is a pretense of a war. They've just said, oh, we call these people in these boats narco-terrorists so we can kill them without any kind of proof, without any kind of justification, because we say so, because we say it's a war.
And meanwhile, the backdrop to all this is we've got destroyers and carriers and ospreys and marines in the Caribbean right now. One interesting thing that I learned reading about this is that the Coast Guard has interdicted a ton of vessels, 212 interdictions since 2024, most in international waters, and notably they use zero lethal force while doing it. In fact, 1 out of every 4 boats intercepted by the Coast Guard wasn't carrying drugs. So if we're kind of using the same logic here, it is at least theoretically possible that 1 out of the 4 boats you've seen in these videos wasn't carrying drugs either. That doesn't mean they weren't carrying bad guys. That doesn't mean that there aren't justifications for doing what we're doing in the Caribbean Sea right now. But we need to know what those things are, right? You don't just get to start a war because you don't get to start a war for the lulz, right? Combine all of that with these reports, and it seems like Congress is starting to ask questions like the responsible adults in the room. And here's the core issue. For 20 years, geez, it's been almost 25 years, presidents, red and blue, have stretched the post 9/11 authorizations for use of military force like they're yoga instructors, right? They're kind of doing all sorts of things to justify strikes. And Rand Paul's logic here is basically, hey, if you want to put a trigger on a conflict, cool, sell it to Congress. It kind of sets up this real constitutional showdown where Congress is reasserting their Article 1 war powers versus just kind of blowing up boats under implied or inherited authorities. Whether you agree with President Trump or not, this is the debate we're supposed to have. And if the debate goes down to, yes, there's a compelling case for attacking Venezuela, I will be the first guy on a plane to Florida to help. You know, this is the kind of debate our founders actually wanted us to have because, you know, if you let your guy wage war unilaterally, then someday other guy gets the same power. And that isn't good. So yeah, Rand Paul teaming up with the Democrats, that's just because Washington suddenly got less dysfunctional. Because every once in a while, even in an election year. And yes, it's coming up to an election year, 2026, midterm elections. Congress remembers that it's supposed to decide when the country goes to war. And
Cool.
Speaking of cyber war, I got to go to cyber war. I got to go do a war. All right. Thank you, guys. Do you have a Christmas party to go to this year and you want to be the coolest guy there? Head on over to bunkerbranding.com.
Wow. Well, this is I feel like it's kind of bog standard, no? Okay. Is there anything else I missed while I was gone? I'm fucking tired. What? They said Hezbollah was in South America. Based. They're everywhere. Yeah, I saw the Supreme Court stuff, apparently. Not cool, but what are you going to do? Do you think your community goes too hard on Ryan Macbeth? I don't know. He says questionable stuff sometimes. It's hard to know.
Flooded into neighboring countries as a result of the Venezuelan regime is a source of instability in the entire region. Over 8 million Venezuelans have flooded into neighboring countries as a result of the regime's activities within their own country, including into the United States. They also happen to be the foothold of Iran. That's not spoken about enough. Iran, its IRGC, and even Hezbollah has a presence in South America, and one of their anchor presence, especially for the Iranians, is inside of Venezuela.
Wow. I'm like, but I disagree with you on the fent lace point. It's usually from cooks being lazy and using the same tools or accidentally mixing powders and bags. No dealer wants the heat of someone dying, and many darknet markets ban fent outright. I've done both, and also buddies who have dealt. It wouldn't surprise me if people didn't like doing it because didn't like mixing it because it's so potent, and obviously if you fuck up, you don't want people dying from it. But assuming you could do it perfectly, right? I imagine you can make way more money because the fentanyl is so much more potent and so much cheaper than the cocaine if you could mix them appropriately, no? But maybe not. Maybe that's not. Maybe it is just like cross-contamination. I don't know. I don't do either of those drugs, so. Let's connect. Draw close. Puzzle. Roast rum. Nuzzle. Guzzle. IKEA furniture. Muzzle, Lego set, hold tight, knock back, model, spoon, swill, beak, pound down, proboscis, proboscis, Things that come with instructions, a puzzle, IKEA furniture, a model, and a Lego set. Ways to eat things quickly. Guzzle, swill, pound down some food maybe, and spoon the soup into your mouth. Knock back, draw close. Roast rum. Muzzle, knock back. Oh, knock back. Imbibe. Okay, of course. I don't know what these two words are at all. Draw close, hold tight. Nuzzle and spoon. Like cuddle things or something? Yeah. Oh. Muzzle, beak. Are these like parts of a dog or bird or front snouts? Okay. Easy. Can we do a quick Adriana Lee meme review? What?
Take. What's that? As well,
So the girl. What? Mom, why does a man have to wine and dine the girl? Why?
So I'm not going to subtitle this. I'm just going to crop it to the chat, and then I'm going to put a title over it that says Chat TTS. And then I'm going to change the font on it to a font I normally use, and then I'm going to put an outline on it. I'm going to make the outline thicker. I'm going to change it to black, and then I am going to do a drop shadow, and then I am going to make it bigger, and then I'm going to put it up here. So here we go.
Wait, what? Why was that like this? Thanks, chatter. Thank you so much for this. Now the whole end of the stream has been ruined. Way to go. What do I have scheduled for tomorrow? Nothing, just a normal stream day. Okay. I love you guys. It's been fun. Stay safe. Be careful. River gonna cappuccino, poppuccino, hoppuccino, moppuccino, dappuccino, cappuccino, appuccino, appuccino, my dudes. I'll catch you guys next stream, tomorrow.